Okay, boy.
Yeah.
Too much to cover there. The Chinese billionaire, man, that China bothers me to no end. I mean, seriously, it's what they do to their people and the amount of atrocities that are going on there right now. Slave labor. Oh, geez, the child labor, amongst many other things, the enslaving of Uyghurs. In fact, is that pretty much a genocide going on with the Uyghurs?
So they've got them in these concentration camps, and there's about 1 million of them, and they're raping and killing them and torturing them.
Awful.
So yeah.
Oh, they're using facial recognition. They're even using facial recognition to identify,
to control them. They're using it to control them. They have a program. It's a social credit system there. So they compare it to our
we'll be on that
rating that we have right now. We do credit ratings, but they use this social credit rating the same way that we sort of similar to how we use credit here. But their credit isn't just financial credit. It's also, social credit. And
it's compliance. It's about compliance.
They know who your friends are, and you get a score for that. They know what you're saying because they're monitoring everything that you're saying.
I'm telling you, we're headed for that.
They know if you're a volunteer. They know this. They know that. They know when you wake up. They know when you go to sleep. All these things add up to your social credit scores. What you look at online. All these things go in there, and you could either be punished or rewarded. So Stephen was talking about this yesterday, the author of the book, Stephen Scherer, and he was talking about, here's an example of how it would work in America. So Barry, you decide to go to Miami, but your social credit score is this. So you can stay at a C ranked hotel, but you can't stay at the A or the B because your social credit isn't that. You can live over here, but you can't live over here. You can go to this school, but you can't go to that school. Sure. And if you are punished, one punishment I read about, this might be something you're interested in, is that they'll take your dog away. That's one of the punishments that can happen is they'll take your pet and they'll charge you a huge fine. This is the kind of thing that they'll do. I mean, think about how much you love your dog, here you said something not a negative thing about Xi Jinping, but something they didn't like, and pretty soon, we want your dog.
Yeah, I mean, as obviously extreme as that is, but we're already facing that so much. I mean, our podcast alone, or if you talk about the YouTube channel, it doesn't get any love. It doesn't get pushed out. I program the thing when I post it so that our past shows are supposed to come up after it ends. And I only realized this for what it is because of listening to another podcaster talk about it, how he gets demoted in the algorithms because, dude, we just talked about COVID for about a half hour again in the last show. We're going to get penalized so badly in our algorithms. There's so many trigger words that we use throughout our podcast that we are just not going to get organic love. We're going to get penalized for that. So
yeah, that's exactly right, Barry.
Facebook is censoring everything that they don't like. I mean, we've seen this for quite some time now. So this whole social credit thing is already happening. They're pushing exactly forward the kind of content they want to come forward and pushing back the content that they don't like. So there's a reward versus credit system already going on. So
that's very astute, Barry. By the way, right.
Where can we see that podcast with that author?
It's going to come out. It'll be available on cybertalktv.tv. I think it's online right now. You can go to that and pull it up. It's very interesting. Yeah. This guy, Stephen, thank you for that. So Stephen was talking about at the end of his book about warning signs of communist tyranny. So how can you tell if it's coming here? And he broke it down into 4 different buckets. One being censorship. He says any censorship by any entity, public or private, for any reason at any time. That is a big warning sign. Social credit score and citizen monitoring, exactly what you were just talking about, Barry. It is tantamount to a social credit score, that if you talk about a certain thing, you're going to be relegated to the fringes. And they're monitoring everything that we're doing. The NSA is monitoring everything that we're doing, even Facebook and Twitter and all these. They're monitoring everything, creating algorithms as a result to filter information to us. That's number two. Number three was human rights and religious suppression and censorship. We've seen a boatload of that, especially over the last year during COVID, and then disarming a population and registering armed citizens. He quotes Mao Zedong that power stems from the barrel of a gun, and disarming the people gives the government all the power and you none. And so we talked about that on the show, but I mean, these are very interesting things, Barry, that you and I can see are happening all around us right now.
Absolutely. Our government is so corrupt, and we unearth more and more of that. Podcasters do. That's what I mean by we, not you and I saving the world, but podcasters are unearthing the corruption left and right. I mean, all day long. And I plug them every week, but Crystal and Sagar are really good about that. Just seeing the real meaning behind the different things that are going on. Highly recommend that podcast.
I really think they do a good job as
awesome
well. I had never heard of them. I mean, I'd heard of Crystal Ball. I never heard of Sagar before. I didn't know anything about her. But seeing those two together is, I don't agree with everything they say, but I love I love, their take, and then they talk about it afterwards.
They got a great format.
Very stimulating. Yes.
Great chemistry.
Right.
Yeah.
And good graphics to go with, like how they organize everything into their different talking points.
It's basically our show with a budget.
Yeah, I would say so too.
Very much so. I love those guys.
They stole it from us.
They did. No, I only heard of them, I don't know, 6 to 8 months ago, because they were on Rogan's show. I bet they blew up when they got on Rogan's show.
That's what we need, to be honest. His show.
Well, his studio was right down the road from you in the valley. It was.
Where is he now?
Austin, man. You didn't know that?
He's in Austin. No, I didn't know that.
Yeah, he's got everybody moving to Austin now. Yeah.
Great town. You know what? It is a great town, but the things that have happened in Austin over the last year make me think, I don't know. I used to love Austin. Now I've seen a lot of turmoil there. It's actually different than the rest of the state in Austin.
Oh, sure. Oh God, those Democrats that went to DC, that seems to be
that is the
Tesla moved there. Yeah, Tesla moved their whole headquarters there.
He sure did, which I think was a beautiful move by him. Texas has a lot of good things going for him.
Hell yeah.
And boy, I was just talking to a friend of mine, this has nothing to do with Texas, but she bought a house there in Ohio about 5 years ago. And
where in Ohio?
The Columbus area.
Oh, okay.
And she's talking about selling her house now. That her house is valued at $100,000 higher than it was just 5 years ago.
Wow.
And so, but we're seeing this all over the country right now, Barry, where housing prices have really skyrocketed. Even here in California, which the housing market here is absolutely insane with the pricing. It's like
I can't believe that.
Crazy. And
who would buy there right now?
This is the mystery, right? Like but if everybody's leaving, how are these houses being bought and at higher prices?
Fishy.
It's very fishy. And this the same person that I'm talking about, Megan, she was saying that she's seeing like farmland in Ohio being bought up like left and right at exorbitant prices by the Chinese.
Oh my God, really? Well, I think that's a good move. With the climate change that's going on, things are getting so volatile everywhere. And the Ohio area, if there's one thing you can say, is that we don't really get too affected by climate other than, cold winters. Yeah, it's an inconvenience. Humid summers. This July's been like a swamp. It's been so hot and humid, but it's an inconvenience. We don't have we don't, not even tornadoes, certainly not hurricanes, not earthquakes, not fires, none of that. So as things keep getting more and more volatile, I think the Midwest is probably a good bet that it's going to get a lot more popular around here.
Yeah, you're probably right. That last part of the of the farmland being bought up, does concern me. I don't know. I haven't done any research on this, but it does appear. I don't know what your stores are looking like right now, but we're seeing some empty shelving out there now. And also one thing that Anne Marie really noticed is that a consolidation of product of manufacturer products. We shop at a store down the street, which is a Kroger store. It's called Ralph's. Yeah. And it's been a really good store to us, but we're seeing where the choices now are in branding is limited. And what we see is a lot of it is Kroger brand. The question is, what's happening with our supply chain? Why is that happening, and what exactly is causing that? And we look at the high prices as well that are happening too.
Well, that's inevitable, but I'm pretty sure it's the same thing that happened, for instance, with the bicycle industry, is that there is just less people to produce. Well, for one, mandated shutdowns because of COVID, but then after that, so many people sitting on their asses because they're getting paid by the government.
So I can see that being a big factor.
It's been a huge factor, and
it's a huge factor in everything. Like I said, I'm looking for a car.
Inflation seems inevitable.
It does. And then at the same time, we're seeing this attack on certain food groups like beef. And that's what makes me concerned because I know beef so much.
You talk about it. Don't take my beef. You're so concerned.
I am very concerned about this.
I know you are. You're scared to death.
I am.
Tell me about your car search, because this week is the first you brought it up. So what are you thinking? What are you looking for?
Looking for a pickup truck that I really are. Yes, I want
pick them up truck.
Yeah, baby. I'm gonna wear my cowboy
tobacco hat.
Yeah, no, I can't.
Shoot.
No, that's making me throw up. but yeah, man, I because anytime that first off, I think they're cool. Secondly,
they're handy.
The utility piece on it. I'm always having to find somebody that's good. Can you come over?
That's what I was just gonna say. But now you're gonna be that guy. Every weekend, somebody's gonna be like, dude, I really need your help.
No. I'm just gonna learn how to say no. Because I'm good at that.
Well, see, I've always considered my career to be the F-150 of careers, because everybody always needs my kind of marketing skill in some form or fashion. It always seems like just. I hear the word just a lot. I just need this. I just need that. Yeah. I'm the Ford F-150 of everybody needs, but nobody wants to pay for it. Yeah.
Well, and I also, because I have the other car, I can't put my bikes on my BMW or anything like that.
Are you gonna get rid of a Beamer or no? Your Taurus.
It's my Taurus, my 21-year-old Taurus. That's where I'm hoping to get a couple dollars for that car.
Assume you're looking at used trucks.
Yes.
And boy, the used car industry is supposed to be really prohibitive right now.
Yeah, it's tough.
I don't think I would do it right now. I really don't.
Well, there are some factors here that are causing me to want to do this at this time, and it's not the best time. I don't know if there's going to be a better time. I hope there
probably
is,
be 2 years.
I can't. That Taurus isn't going to wait that long for me, and so and I really think this, and I think it's going to be used. It's probably going to be several years old. It'll have some miles on it because I have to park it outside anyhow. But I just think it'd be fun.
You're gonna have homeless people in it.
I want to.
You will.
Okay.
You will.
That I hadn't considered that.
Dude, the next morning you're going to see a tent in the back.
Get out of there. I can see that being my morning routine.
Just get a big
First,
stick.
I wake up, then I go outside and chase the homeless encampment out of the back of my truck. Then I have coffee.
How's Venice Beach looking today?
I don't ever go down there. Yeah.
Oh,
So
wow.
I think I told you that Villanueva, our sheriff, cleaned it all out, and
But then you said they came back
with a
yeah.
vengeance, right? And I
Yeah.
think they're just still back there. I did see a terrible video that of some homeless guy down there naked fondling himself.
I saw that on the news.
Yeah, that's what's going on. So that's how Venice Beach is.
Jesus.
Yeah. Okay. So don't go. just stay away.
Isn't that a shame? One of the most beautiful places on earth, and we
let this happen. We let this happen. I don't get it.
There's no good answer to the homeless problem, though. I got to tell you, you're going to think I'm crazy, but I've been thinking more and more. You're really going to think I'm crazy. In fact, this is going to make you angry, but the whole stipend, I'm coming to the conclusion that with the amount of the billions and billions of taxpayer dollars that are wasted and taken and spent, given to special interest groups, in these bills and everything else, trillions of dollars actually of our money, that if we could clean up our government and stop this corruption, that I think the natural evolution of society and how we are, our society has been extremely successful at creating wealth. And we could have that bare minimum. You could call it a stipend or whatever, but no person should be homeless, hungry, and thirsty. And so if there is that bare minimum, while preserving capitalism, the ability to ascend, but then I think you need that cap where it's gone crazy with the billionaires. And that's been going on for decades. If you see the charts on that just have siphoned the money right out of the country. And that happens with every society. For some reason, Jordan Peterson seems to call it the Pareto principle, but I've tried to look that up and I can't find more information on that. But it happens with every society. But my point is if we could get a hold of our government, and this is where I start to see how the anarchists are thinking. Well, I could find an argument for it, is what I'm trying to say.
And a lot of people don't really understand what anarchy stands for. They just think it's lawlessness. Just go out there. It's like Mad Max kind of thing. That's not what anarchy is. Anarchy is actually the ideal state of everyone is so responsible that we don't need government. That's
right. That is true.
That's what anarchy is supposed to be. It's not this, oh my God, shoot everybody. That's the, made for television.
Have you ever seen that show? It's actually movies. It's a series of, what is it? Where people go out, there's a night of every year. Where they can go out and there's no lights.
Oh yeah, The Purge.
That's it.
Yeah,
I saw the first one. I mean, it's an interesting idea of that you could see it. It's so close to being real.
Oh my God, I could see like tonight. I could see Joe Biden announcing a purge. Like, no, I'm not kidding. This isn't hyperbole.
Right.
I could hear him just saying that. This is no joke. Joke.
And then blame it on Trump, and it'll work.
Yeah. Do you ever notice that he says things like when he's really trying to make a point that's outrageous, he'll say it 3 times?
I can't. I don't really
reduce inflation. Reduce inflation. Reduce. Like, why do you got to say that 3 times? And then here's another thing is that I noticed that he does is after he says something outrageous or as he's saying it, he always touches his face. He touches it. And I remember watching a Seinfeld episode where George and Jerry were sitting there and Elaine comes in and how was your date last night? And she touches her face and she goes, it was fine. And then hold on, that's a tell. And she's like, what are you talking about? You touched your face when you said it. It's like, well,
is that a real thing?
I don't know.
Is it a Seinfeld thing?
This is a Seinfeldism, but a lot of Seinfeldisms are built in reality. And he says,
that's what I mean.
He goes, the higher up in your face that you go, the bigger the problem is. It's like, I don't know. It's here. Oh my God. And so I noticed that he does that when it's always when he's about to say something.
A whopper.
Yeah, big whopper. He touches his face. And I always look to see how high on his face. He does it all the time. And I've never seen a president touch his face so much, actually.
Do you, if you had to bet, if you had to put your truck on it?
The truck that I love that I don't have.
Yeah, exactly. What would your bet be that as far as Biden making it through the 4 years? Because I don't think he's going to.
He doesn't look like he's going to make it.
It's only 6 months in.
I mean, maybe I think that should be the bet. It's will he make it to January 20th? Because I mean, the things that I've seen him say, I don't know if you saw the
I've
CNN.
seen so much of him just losing where he is and saying, oh, forget it, because he forgets where he's at.
Yeah, he does. And
so much of that.
He's got a little gimmick of I see that he uses a little trick. Well, let me get off that. And then he'll do that as if he was like wanting to end that train of thought and go to the next one. But it's getting old. But he was with in the CNN town hall last week with Don Lemon, and Lemon was asking him about the mask man. I don't like that guy either. The mask mandate with for children, and would that happen? And he spoke for about a minute to answer that question, but I really don't know what he said.
Yeah,
he said a lot, but none of it was connected. Like it was like he had 5 different trains of thought that were leaving the station at the same time, and he was trying to talk about all of them at the same time, and then they all like merged together and crashed. It was a terrible train wreck at the end, and we still and Lemon jumps in to help him. He goes, "Oh, you mean?" I don't remember what it was, but he was like, "Oh, yeah, that's what I mean." And it's like, first off, the media really tries. They prop him up all the time, and remember,
and that's why no one's listening anymore.
Well, remember the Trump press conferences where as soon as like he would pause, everyone would just scream at him. And here they're just like, okay, now walk down this way.
They're so worthless. Down. But thank God it's just becoming, it's common knowledge now. People tried to defend media for a very long time, but I mean, it's to the point now we're at 6 months of this complete role reversal of the media. That's so obvious that come on, even if you're far left, can you actually take them seriously?
Well, it's,
and that goes for Fox too, but in the opposite direction. Fox is a bunch of hyperbole, except I like the 5. I do like the 5.
There's certain people on Fox that I like, but I don't trust Fox at all. And when you take a look at what we're dealing with our news agencies, they're all owned by major corporations, and major corporations have agendas and things that they have to do to suit themselves. And so their agenda isn't necessarily to make sure that you're informed about everything. Their agenda is to make a whole lot of money. And when you take a look at Fox News being owned by Rupert Murdoch and the Murdoch family, what are they famous for? Tabloids in the UK. And like, how much do we trust tabloids? And you got to look at this, right? And you got these guys that the bottom line is that trust but verify, right? Like you listen to these guys and you say, okay, that sounded interesting. Let me look into it. I think that's the very important thing to do today, and check different sources. And then you just got to use your gut to figure out what the truth is. 2 important points there. And one, I think is major is I think that news stations should have to very blatantly state the difference between a commentator and a newscast. Everything's just commentary right now. Very few is news. Very little is news.
Secondly, more importantly, is what kind of truck are you looking for?
Well, I like that Toyota Tacoma.
It's relatively small, right?
It's not like a huge thing. So I got to be able to fit into parking spaces here.
No, that's what I was thinking.
Yeah,
I think that's smart.
Boy, I talked to this guy, like the maintenance guy here has a beautiful Tacoma, and I said, man, that is a nice truck. Boy, he goes, oh, man, I love this truck. He told me he actually referred to himself as Tacoma, and he likes it so much. And he goes, he had he's had a string of them, and he said the last one that he had, he went to sell. It had like 100 some odd thousand miles on it. It was several years old. He said he sold it in 2 hours, full price.
Really?
These things are, they carry their value for a long time. As I'm looking at these things, I mean, you have like trucks that have nearly 200,000 miles that are like back in 2004, and they're still getting a pretty good price for these things. They run forever. The one that the guy said, the one that he sold in 2 hours, he had 400,000 miles on that.
You got to be kidding me.
No, I'm not. And I've
never heard of anything having.
He says he loves driving it. He doesn't even want to get out of the car when he gets to his destination. See, I'm like, do you work for Toyota? Because I feel like this is too good to be true. But I haven't test driven one yet, though.
I've always, I just love driving a car, and I love that experience of it. Every other car used to be manual, but they're so, you never find them anymore. So it's like, whatever. But they're fun to drive, though. Well, yeah, especially I had a Nissan 240 SX, and that was probably early 2000s. And boy, that thing glided right into each gear. I mean, you always judge by watching when you have a passenger. Does their head go back and forth? You know, I always try to make sure their head doesn't go back and forth. It was so fun to drive. But all the remodeling of the house that I've done and all these different things, I always do things like that. Of course, it would seem like a given I should get a pickup truck. I've always kind of thought that. But then at the same time, I think about, I rent the big old truck at Home Depot all the time for $25 an hour. Right. How much have I spent in 1 year on renting a truck when I need it? $100, $200? That,
not much, not much. Right. Exactly.
So that's how I look.
Well, here's my thing too, is that, I want to be able to take my bicycle and Anne-Marie's bicycle on trips. Like, we're talking about going out to the Zion National Park and to the Grand Canyon and everything. And I've never been out that way, but it's like a mecca for mountain bikes.
Yeah.
And
I got a bike rack. I took it to New York and back.
I can't do it on because I lease my BMW and I don't have a bike rack on it or anything. Like, I don't want to put one on there. Yeah. And so having a pickup would be great, because I could put the rack on the back, and I could put like camping gear in the back of the truck, and then I got something I could even go off road on if I need to. See, I just love nature, and and to be able to have I'll never forget, Barry, when I got my first mountain bike. I remember in Kent, like, it opened up a whole new world to me to be able to, I got to go to places I never would have been able to see. And it was just so beautiful. I didn't even know how beautiful it was in Kent until I got that mountain bike. And if I could get that and also have a truck where I could access places I couldn't normally access, I think this is going to be like a
game changer.
Yeah, big game. And right now with my Taurus, I have a hitch, so I have a really great bike rack that I can put two bikes on, and just goes in.
I know the kind right off the hitch. Yeah.
What is the real popular one? I forgot the name of it, but anyway, it's a beautiful one. You can lock your bikes on the back too, so I could just go into a restaurant on a trip and not worry about it.
That's a thing.
It's ultimate, right? This is ultimate.
Because I think about that. Yeah,
you have to. You have to, because they'll be gone, and you'll cry and you'll have that bitter feeling.
It'd be awful.
Oh my God, right? And so we want to be able to go to like Moab with the truck. And
Moab? What's that?
Moab is with the arches and everything in Utah.
Yes, okay.
And it's like,
I want to go there so bad.
You do want to go there.
I know. That's what I told you. I know we talked about that. I told you about that movie where that guy, like 112 Days or something, it's called, where James Franco plays the guy that gets wedged in the rocks.
I like that.
Forever.
God, that's horrible. Yeah.
But the movie opened up with him mountain biking through all of that Bugs Bunny Roadrunner. Coyote, desert kind of stuff. And I was enthralled. I'm like, oh my God, that's a bucket list thing. I really
beautiful. We have to do that together.
Agreed.
Barry. That's going to be fantastic. So I want to pave a trail with my Tacoma.
considering where you're at right now, I mean, when we came through California and we went through the Big Sur, the southern part of the Big Sur and coming out of it, all of that, I wanted to bike ride through.
Oh
There's
my God.
so many,
So
talk
beautiful.
about nature. At the Big Sur, there was a couple places that we stopped and I was just like, oh, I want to go bike riding here so bad. And then coming out of it is a town that goes on for miles along the ocean. And
Cambria.
Yeah, that sounds right. And
we like to stay there.
I want to take a couple months off and literally bike ride and just keep biking through all of that area and stay in a different place every night.
Yeah, it's in fact, the last time I've done that trip a couple times or back and forth. I've only done it once myself. I was blown away too. And we would stop places and I would see people ride their bikes. Some of them had tandem bicycles and they were going to ride the whole through Big Sur on those and I was like, wow.
That's why I said the southern part of it, because man, I saw those people climbing those hills as well.
Some of them were crazy,
old people too.
That was the thing. It was like, you got to be 75 going up that
skinny gray hair. Yeah,
a lot of them. I respect
it.
Made me feel
I respect it, but I think they're crazy.
I envy them. Yeah, I envy the fact
so dangerous.
They're very muscular, old people. I mean,
but to have that to be so lean, the body is not working as hard as like my fat butt trying to take a bike up a hill like that.
It's really impressive to see these people and
that's how I want to be. I want
to
slowly lose weight as I get older. You're going to lose muscle mass inevitably, so I want it to be tighter. You know,
I'm with you too. I envy these people. I mean, they're sort of heroes to me. Like you see them and it's like, wow, that gives me a lot of hope for the future here. Pretty cool stuff, man. You know, interestingly, right at the bottom of that hill, there's a little rest area that Anne-Marie and I stopped in and we got out of the car. I think we're going to have a sandwich or something. And I saw this squirrel and it started coming. I just kind of made a noise and it started coming right over to me. And I was like, hey, Anne-Marie, there's a squirrel coming over here. And when I looked back, there were like 30 or 40 squirrels now coming towards me. And when they
where was this?
This was like exactly where you're talking about at the bottom of Big Sur where Cambria is.
Gotcha.
And we actually got in the car because we were a little intimidated by this
squirrels.
Army of squirrels coming.
They got teeth, man.
The car, they all like underneath of our car and all around. They didn't leave, and we're like, "What do they want? What's going on here?" And then we were like, "Should we leave? I don't want to run over any of these." It was the weirdest thing, man. I don't know what's going on over there, but Cambria.
I got something to share with you. Where's Zoom and where's share? This is the first time I've shared today, which is unusual. I was just thinking about this. This is odd. It really odd, but I saw a movie the other night that was really good. That is bizarre for me. It's called Blood Red Skies.
And what is that about?
Oh my God. It is, it's a vampire movie in an airplane.
Blood Red Sky. That sounds like snakes on a plane.
It was really good. It was very well done. It was really scary, really creepy. And I'm not going to give a lot away, but there's this woman who has a kid and she got bit by a vampire at some point and has been trying to stop the full transformation into this monster. And so she's got this kind of drug that holds it at bay. And she's trying to get to New York where she could actually get treated, because if you turn into the full, if you go all the way, you turn into like this monster, this obviously bloodthirsty monster there's no way back. It's a monster. And the plane is hijacked by terrorists. So they're on the plane to go into New York for her to get this treatment. And the plane gets hijacked by terrorists.
Those poor terrorists.
Yeah. And this movie goes way beyond what you can even imagine. And
really?
It's really good if you like to get really scared.
Interesting thing. I'm not a big fan of scary movies, although
I know I'm not either. And I think
Anne-Marie likes them a lot.
I highly it's on Netflix though. Well, I'm sure you can find it somewhere else. It's called Blood Red Skies, and
I'm writing that down.
It's really good all the way through it. It's not a paint by numbers, which is a big thing for me. I feel like almost every movie I see, I could tell you exactly what's going to happen throughout the entire damn thing because you've seen it all 100 times before. Well, you've never seen this one before, and it's very realistic. It's very believable.
Wow, that's pretty cool. You know, Barry, I have to say, I don't think not one of your movie recommendations have been things I didn't like. Everything you recommend have been things that I've enjoyed.
But I preface that one with, I don't think you'll really like it because I know the kind of you're not gonna. It's gory, it's scary, we talk about not wanting to watch really dark stuff. It's not dark in that like screw your head up kind of way.
Yeah.
But probably give you nightmares.
So I am very susceptible to, I'm very impressionable.
Yes.
And so let me tell you an experience I just had last week. Anne-Marie had this movie on. I can't remember what it was called. It was even the title of it, hopefully I'll remember it. Even the title of it had a red flag for me. It was like, I should not be watching a movie with that title. You know, there's something like Poltergeist. It wasn't Poltergeist, but it made you know that there was some type of a
supernatural
entity that was going to mess with people. So what happens is that
the possession.
This woman has a house. She's dating the young people they're dating, and they decide to move in together. So he moves into her house, but it wasn't until after he moves in that she tells him that there's some kind of entity in the house that's been tormenting her. Well, first he's mad because she didn't tell him that before he moved in, and then, but secondly, he's super curious about this entity, and he wants to.
That stuff creeps me out.
He wants to bring it out, right? Like, so that could be a paint by numbers kind of thing. Like, you fool! Why would you do that?
Yeah.
But okay, so eventually, what ends up happening is she kills him because she's like possessed by this thing, right? And but you could see that coming the whole time. There was a scene in the movie that's given me goosebumps just thinking about it, where they're in bed and they're filming themselves sleeping so that they can see what happens in the middle of the night. And all this creepy stuff starts happening. And then like you can see the sheets like rise up on her side, and then something gets under the covers with her. And then she wakes up suddenly and she's all like, like that, and he wakes up and he's all scared. What's going on? And then all this crazy stuff happens and everything. So, you know, I'm watching this movie and I'm like, okay, I should probably go to sleep and stop watching this. And I end up going to sleep, and I didn't have a bad dream, but what did happen was in the middle of the night, Anne-Marie, you know how sometimes you breathe in and you get saliva in the back of your throat, you choke. Anne-Marie wakes up like this. Like, and I was like standing on the bed, like, what? Get out of here. And she's like, oh, it's just, I felt like I was choking. And and I go, are you okay? Yeah. I go, you know, you reminded me of that movie. She, don't talk about that. And she goes right back to sleep. She's asleep.
You're sitting there looking around.
Okay. Of course, I started hearing noises in the house, you know, right. Anne-Marie had hung this white shirt on her bookcase. Looked like something was hovering around. I couldn't go back to sleep for like 2 hours.
Oh my God, that's so funny. And you know,
because I watched that stupid movie.
I thought you were going to say in that movie, and it was this little kid that looked like, you know, the kids are the creepiest. When you make a ghost out of a kid.
Yeah,
a suit.
Why is a little kid with a suit on? Is horrifying.
Like he's in England in the 1700s, you know, with the short pants and all that.
Right, exactly.
Right. Yeah, that's always creepy. The Exorcist. I think we talked about it before. To this day, I think scariest movie of all time.
Yeah. Well, and supposedly that movie is based on a true story.
Oh, there was another movie that I thought you might have been alluding to when you started telling me about that, but you didn't. But it's about something called like the possession of Emily Son.
Oh yeah.
And
I remember when that came on.
Supposedly
I've seen a total
all true.
of 3 minutes of that.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, I can't. No, thanks.
So I would assume you believe that possessions are real. I believe
that. I believe that. I mean, it's in the Bible, so it happens. I've seen people that I thought could at Geauga Lake that came up to the dime pitch. They had that. They seemed like they might be possessed. I've seen where they talk with that like that. I've seen some pretty messed up things.
It could be said, as I think about this, that we all possibly have a degree of possession, a little bit of the devil in us, and how much people have varying degrees of it. And it probably can be expanded upon and reduced, and it probably ebbs and flows in our lives.
So the Bible makes it clear that people, it says in Ephesians chapter 6 that our battle isn't against flesh and blood. In other words, people, it's against powers and principalities in high places. So the thing is that you might think, well, this guy is a terrible person, but what the Bible is saying is that this person could be being influenced by powers and principalities in high place, spiritual. It's a spiritual thing. And so, but possession can happen. We know that the believer is, according to the Bible, protected against possession because you're possessed by Jesus Christ. However, you can still be influenced because the devil has the ability, and his army of demons has the ability to actually put thoughts into your mind.
Oh, sure.
And so with that being said, Barry, I totally agree with what you said earlier about, even as a believer, I could be influenced in that way. Here's something that's really interesting that my mom
because we really got to wind up. Go ahead.
It's counterfeiters, people that can recognize counterfeit money.
Yeah.
What they do in order to recognize counterfeit money is not studying the counterfeit. They study the real thing, so that when they see the counterfeit, it pops out, right? Okay. And this is exactly what we do is we study the Bible, we study what the truth is, so that when we see these things coming at us, maybe they're thoughts coming into our head, like, wait a second, how does this line up with what the truth is? And that's how we're able to judge things, right?
That makes sense to me.
It's just like the people that can see counterfeits. It's the same thing, and this is how you can really install wisdom into your life.
It's a lot like talking about the media again, though, coming full circle. Is the tough thing is the way you present something can be so manipulative, and you can come at one thought from a lot of different angles. And like the media today will just throw Trump in there and try to change the whole outcome of your thinking on a policy.
Yeah, so right, very, very good. And so this is what we're seeing. And if you don't have that knowledge of right and wrong on the inside of you, you won't be able to recognize the counterfeit. So that's why I was saying is that we have to look at these different sources. Great way to conclude. Look at different sources, read the pro, the con, and then use the governor on the inside of you to decide which is right.
Really well said.
This is a good place to wrap it up.
It is, because that's really apropos for spiritually and what's going on in this manipulative media today. So there you go, man. It's a great podcast. So much fun.
Great way to spend the Friday morning. I hope you have a great weekend, Barry.
Oh, you as well. Love you, buddy. Talk soon.
Pet Charlie for me.
I sure will. All right.
Bye.